She left society for the desert. Not for adventure, not for escape. At least that's what she told herself at first. Maya Hartley, once an urban engineer in a sprawling city, walked away from the world when she realized it was beyond saving. Too much noise, too much denial, too much slow-motion collapse. She drove west, farther and farther, until the last highway became dust, and the only sounds were the wind and the sun-baked silence. Her friends called her mad. Her family, heartbroken, let her go. But Maya had a vision, an oasis not of luxury, but of survival. A place where water was sacred, energy renewable, and everything could be mended, reused, or grown. She chose a forgotten canyon, a scar in the earth that twisted deep and narrow, hidden from maps and satellites. She started with nothing but scavenged tools and blueprints she'd drawn in sleepless nights, and so began the legend of the Desert Woman. At first, life was brutal. Maya battled the heat, rationed every drop of water, built shelter from stone and scrap. She learned to catch dew at dawn, to trap what little rain fell, to survive on wild cactus and the bitter roots that hid in dry riverbeds. Years passed in this rhythm, hard work, endless heat, silence. But with each season, Maya transformed the canyon. She built wind traps to catch every breeze, solar stills that turned salt water sweet, shade gardens where roots reached deep and green. She constructed cisterns and buried pipelines, wiring everything into a web of careful sustainability. She worked alone, save for the rare passing coyote, the occasional vulture circling above. Sometimes at dusk she'd whisper to the emptiness, "If they only knew what's possible." And though the world forgot her, Maya endured. Whispers of her work drifted beyond the sands, first as rumors, then as wild stories. Travelers told of a hidden oasis where fruit grew in stone, where water sprang from the earth, where a woman with sunburned skin could coax life from dust. Few believed it. Fewer still dared the journey. But Maya was prepared for solitude. She kept journals, drew maps of her growing domain, and tinkered with new inventions under the endless blue sky. Then, one summer, the world truly began to unravel. Cities ran dry, food riots lit the night, governments failed, one by one. As panic spread, desperate souls wandered into the desert seeking escape, salvation, anything. One night, Maya spotted the first flicker of campfire on the canyon rim. She watched from her hidden garden, torn between fear and hope. Her exile was about to end. The first to stumble into the canyon was a teenage boy, sunburned and dazed, clutching a battered canteen. He collapsed at the edge of Maya's solar array, too weak to call for help. Maya carried him to the shade, nursed him with sips of water and sweet cactus pulp. It took days for him to speak. His name was Amir. He'd escaped a city on fire, walked for weeks, losing hope with every step. Maya listened as Amir told his story. Chaos in the streets, armed gangs, desperate crowds at empty wells. He'd heard the legends of a woman in the desert, a place where water still flowed. Maya said little. She offered him a bed, work, and a rule. All shared, nothing wasted. Word spread. Not by design, but by desperation. Others followed. A woman and her child fleeing violence. A pair of old friends, each carrying nothing but a bag of seeds and a dream of safety. A wounded medic. A poet. A band of refugees from a shattered border town. Maya took them all in, setting tasks and sharing knowledge. She showed them how to repair pipelines, how to coax tomatoes from arid soil, how to live by the law of the oasis. Survival through unity. Nothing hoarded. Every drop, every root, every tool counted. Some struggled to adjust. City habits died hard. But the desert was unforgiving. Those who hoarded, who sowed discord, found no shelter. And slowly, as weeks became months, the oasis grew into a small community. Evenings were filled with quiet laughter, stories under the stars, and the constant life-giving sound of water moving through stone. Yet the outside world pressed closer. A caravan arrived, armed, desperate, their leader a hardened woman named Salma. She demanded tribute, food, water, shelter for her fighters. Maya faced her in the dawn light, unarmed but resolute. "This oasis is not for conquerors," Maya said. "Here we survive together, or not at all. Take only what you need, and stay if you will work." Salma laughed, dismissing Maya's offer as naive. But as her fighters grew weak with thirst, witnessing the harmony and discipline of the oasis, even she began to waver. Maya offered water, food, and honest labor. Slowly, Salma's group set down their weapons, taking up tools instead. It was not easy. Suspicion lingered, tempers flared, trust was tested. But Maya knew only unity would protect them from what was coming next. Seasons passed, each one a test. Drought pressed harder, sun harsher than ever. Yet Maya's systems, her webs of pipes and shade, her dew collectors and root cellars held strong. The community learned to read the wind, to gather seeds from wildflowers and nurse them through heat waves. Children, once silent and wary, now played in the cool tunnels at midday. Elders told stories of rivers and rain, but also stories of ingenuity. How Maya taught them to see abundance where others saw only emptiness. The oasis was more than shelter. It became a new way of life. People came seeking safety, but stayed for purpose. Maya watched the community grow with both pride and anxiety. Would their unity survive the next great trial? That trial came not as raiders or drought, but as conflict from within. Food was scarce one harvest. Arguments flared. Who worked hardest? Who deserved more? Who could be trusted? Amir, now a respected leader among the youth, tried to mediate, but old wounds from the outside world resurfaced. Distrust, fear, jealousy. Maya called a gathering beneath the largest acacia. She spoke plainly. We survive because we share. No one here is more or less than another. If we forget that, this oasis will become a grave. The community debated late into the night. By dawn, they recommitted to Maya's rules, voting to ration, to share, to hold one another accountable. Unity, though shaken, endured. A new crisis swept the world outside. Disease. Refugees, gaunt and coughing, staggered to the canyon's mouth. Some in the oasis wanted to turn them away, afraid of infection. Others, recalling their own desperate arrivals, pleaded for mercy. Maya decided the oasis would not become like the world they'd fled. She established a quarantine zone, called on the medic to lead care, and taught the community to protect themselves without closing their hearts. Days turned to weeks. Some newcomers died, but many recovered. The oasis mourned, but also learned how to heal, how to prevent, how to balance caution with compassion. Maya stood watch each night, grateful for every light that stayed burning, every life saved. With survival came hope, and with hope, new dreams. The children, now healthy and strong, asked Maya to teach them more than survival. She taught them engineering, botany, and the art of innovation, how to repair broken solar panels, build water filters from sand and glass, graft fruit trees onto wild roots. Amir and Salma, once strangers, now led teams on expeditions beyond the canyon. They mapped dried rivers, found hidden springs, traded seeds and knowledge with distant settlements. The oasis became a center for new beginnings, a place where skills and stories from lost cities converged. At night, the community gathered to share what they'd learned. Old world and new world, braided together by laughter, music, and the shared promise of a future. Maya grew older, her hair silvered by sun and wind, her hands marked by work. She spent more time recording everything: journals, blueprints, lessons. She encouraged others to do the same, so the knowledge of the oasis would never die, even if disaster returned. One winter, Maya fell ill. Nothing dramatic, just the slow decline of years spent under a relentless sun. Amir and Salma took over day-to-day leadership, with Maya advising from her shaded porch. Children brought her desert flowers, the medic made her favorite teas, and elders came for counsel. Maya found peace in seeing the oasis thrive without her constant oversight. It was no longer her creation alone, it belonged to everyone. Rumors arrived with a band of travelers. Green had returned to distant valleys, old rivers had begun to flow. The world, perhaps, was healing. The community debated. Should they leave, spread out, try to rebuild the world beyond the canyon? Or stay, guarding the hard-won peace they had made? Maya smiled at their debate. We were meant to be more than survivors. The world needs new seeds, new builders, new stories. Go, when you're ready. But take the lessons of the oasis with you. A group prepared to leave, carrying bundles of seeds, tools, and journals. They promised to return, to keep the spirit of unity alive wherever they went. As they departed at dawn, Maya watched from her porch, the rising sun turning the canyon gold. She knew her story had become theirs. Years slipped by, gentle and relentless as wind across stone. The oasis endured droughts and storms, but also saw seasons of plenty. Wildflowers spread across the canyon floor. New faces arrived, young wanderers, families, hopeful builders drawn by legend and rumor. Amir and Salma's leadership matured, blending Maya's original rules with fresh ideas. They built a library in a shaded alcove, filled with journals, diagrams, and tales. The Oasis's council became a place where every voice was heard, every problem solved together. Children who had never seen the world before the collapse grew up calling the desert home. They ran across bridges, swam in cool pools, planted groves of figs and olives. Maya, though frailer now, took pride in teaching the youngest to find beauty and possibility in even the harshest places. One spring, a scout returned with astonishing news. Far to the north, a river that had been dust for decades now flowed again. Along its banks, scattered communities were rebuilding, fields green, wells clear, music rising from rebuilt villages. The oasis buzzed with hope and uncertainty. Some wanted to journey north to join in the renewal. Others hesitated, fearing the loss of their hard-won peace. A great assembly was called. Maya, voice soft but steady, offered her blessing to all choices. Wherever you go, let the oasis go with you. Not in water or walls, but in how you treat each other. A group set out at sunrise, carrying seeds and stories, envoys of the oasis spirit. Maya watched, heart full, knowing the world was bigger than even her greatest dream. Maya's final days were spent beneath the acacia, surrounded by her community. Elders gathered to sing old songs, children wove garlands of desert blooms, and Amir and Salma kept gentle vigil. Maya's last words echoed the lessons she'd lived by. Unity is strength. Share everything. Leave no one behind in the dust. She died at dawn, the canyon awash in golden light. That night, the oasis mourned and celebrated all at once, remembering the woman who had turned exile into salvation, desert into life. They promised to keep her wisdom alive, no matter where the sands might shift. And as the stars appeared, the oasis thrived, a testament to resilience, community, and hope. Years became generations. The oasis that Maya built outlasted her, growing into a living legend. Children's children learned her rules by heart: unity, kindness, no waste, no fear. The original canyon now held terraced gardens, winding pools, and shaded plazas. New settlements sprang up along the revived rivers, each sending envoys to the oasis for seeds, wisdom, and stories. Twice a year, people from distant lands would gather beneath the ancient acacia for a great festival. There, elders retold Maya's story, and new leaders shared their dreams. The library in the canyon became a sanctuary of memory, a place where knowledge, laughter, and hope were stored for all who sought them. Travelers arriving at the oasis found not just water and shade, but welcome. It became known across the desert as a place where no one was turned away, and where every person was invited to work, learn, and belong. Amir and Salma, now wise elders, watched as the world beyond slowly healed. New alliances formed among settlements, trading routes opened, and a shared sense of purpose grew in the hearts of those who remembered Maya's words. The spirit of the oasis, once a secret, now a beacon, spread on every wind. Wherever people gathered, they built not just for survival, but for harmony. Long after Maya's passing, a new generation gathered beneath the blooming acacia. A young girl, tasked with telling the oasis' origin story, spoke with clear voice. She left the world behind and built hope from dust. She showed us that even in the harshest place, unity can create paradise. As night fell, lanterns floated on pools and music drifted up to the stars. The world was not as it once was, but in the canyon and beyond, the spirit of the oasis lived on, a testament to one woman's vision and a community's promise. And so, wherever desert met green, people whispered Maya's law: leave no one behind in the dust.